Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, October 28, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at what the United States National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And as you can see, as we just reloaded the page, the area of possible tropical cyclone development across the southern Caribbean has now vanished. So there's nothing that's going to be affecting Jamaica over the next 7 days. What catches our attention, however, is the system right here across the southwestern Atlantic, right there to the north of Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, that now has a 50% chance of tropical cyclone formation as it moves towards the northwest. We can also see to the northeast of that system we still have tropical storm Tammy that's now moving towards the east at 15 miles per hour and is packing maximum sustained wind of 45 miles per hour. So if we actually take a look at what the Euro model and the GFS models are showing in terms of that system that was predicted to affect portions of Jamaica, we can see that by early morning on Monday we would have had an L right here. That's on the Euro model with some amount of moisture, not necessarily anything organized. If it was something organized, we would see more contour lines circulating the red L, just like what we see across the eastern Pacific with that system near Mexico. But we don't see that. It would have been very disorganized. And the GFS doesn't even show anything for around the same time to the south of Jamaica. So we definitely have some amount of disagreement, which explains why the Hurricane Center has erased that area of possible tropical cyclone development. But what we do see consensus in is around midnight on Thursday. This is 0Z Friday. So is it midnight on Thursday? No, it's actually 7 p.m. on Thursday. Yes, what we do see is an abundance of moisture across portions of the central and western Caribbean, and we see much of the same on the GFS model if I can find it. Alright, so much of the same on the GFS model. So it is valid for 0Z Friday, and here we have it. So definitely, if we take a look at both maps together, yes, there's an increase in the amount of moisture, especially across the central and western Caribbean on the Euro. Even an L in there that represents an area of low pressure. Maybe some broad area of low pressure or spin might be taking place around that time. So we have to just watch to see exactly what unfolds. This is valid for the first week of November, and we usually receive an increase in the amount of rainfall during October. Maybe some of that might spill into early November. Let us take a look at what the surface map of the Atlantic shows. We can see that we still have that trough that's affecting portions of the eastern Caribbean with some amount of clouds, showers and thunderstorms, and we can see those clouds even better on the visible satellite images before the sun went down. Lots of clouds bringing some amount of overcast sky showers and thunderstorms right there to the south of Hispaniola, affecting Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, the Windward and the Leeward Islands, stretching all the way into portions of the main development region. We'll be talking more about the weather across the Caribbean later on. Let's focus your attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday. It was stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of northeast Jamaica with that continuous flow from the, well, in between the windward passage right there between Haiti and Cuba. That northeasterly wind flow bringing about some amount of clouds and rainfall with that orographic lift. And it was also stated that it would have been far less than what we've been getting all week, with less of that spilling over into southern parishes, and we could see that in the thumbnail that was posted yesterday. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Eastern parishes, we're talking about Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, and Kingston. And considering that we're talking about northeast, it would have definitely been Portland, maybe even spilling into sections of St. Mary. And what ended up happening as early as 6:56 a.m., we had the clouds coming into sections of northern Jamaica. Yes, we had some amount of isolated showers coming out of these clouds, especially across sections of Portland and St. Thomas. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see that for the most part today was a partly cloudy day, with the clouds coming in from the northeast bringing some amount of isolated showers to sections of Portland, maybe sections of St. Mary, and even up to close to recording hour we had some amount of clouds bringing some isolated thunder showers to sections of St. Elizabeth. And we can see that even better on the infrared satellite images right now. Let's reload these images and get the latest. So we can definitely see that we have some amount of thunderstorm activity taking place across sections of St. Elizabeth, maybe even spilling into the sea right now. And we can even see better on the Cuban Doppler radar images that show the greens and the yellows that represent light to moderate, and even some amount of heavy rainfall right there across sections of St. Elizabeth at this time. And if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website for the rainfall that we've had for the past 24 hours, definitely some amount of clouds that brought some isolated showers to sections of northern Jamaica, especially the northeast, Portland, St. Mary, and that rainfall that we just saw across sections of St. Elizabeth in the late afternoon to early evening hours. So the forecast definitely came to fruition, except for the forecast for that rainfall across St. Elizabeth. That was one pop-up shower that the models must have missed. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can say we have 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and by 3 a.m. tonight, that's early Sunday morning, the temperature should dip down to 24 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18 on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we see that for the most part, Jamaica should be getting in on some average temperatures, with some isolated spots getting in on some yellows that represent at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of October in Jamaica is about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. 89 degrees Fahrenheit, when we take a look at the thermometer, is about the same as 31 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most. As it relates to the dry air map, we can see by the key at the bottom, the dry air is represented by the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we do see a lot of dry air off the east coast of the United States, across the Gulf of Mexico, across the Western Caribbean. But Jamaica is starting to clear up as we can see more blues surrounding the island. It's only after the west that we see some amount of dry air. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, Jamaica should definitely be in the clear. All the Saharan dust is right there across the main development region and Africa. As it relates to the wave forecast, we can see the lighter shades of blues surrounding the island on both the Euro and the GFS malls, maybe close to a meter wave height at most. And we can also see definitely that 0.5 meter wave height look across the southern portion of the island, especially across the southwest. And that's due to the fact that the winds are not going to be that strong at all. Look at the wind flow that we have for tomorrow, coming in from the northeast on the north coast, coming in from the south for the most part on the south coast. Either way, look at what we see. We see those blues piling up across sections of inland areas of some eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. So that's definitely where the air is going to be piling up. Those cumulus clouds are going to become cumulonimbus clouds, and then causing some amount of afternoon convection. And with the upper level winds coming in from the south for tomorrow on both the Euro and the GFS, this is valid for 18D, which is 1 p.m. on Sunday. Any afternoon convection that we will get will be blowing those high cold cloud tops that develop that rainfall across inland areas up towards the north, bringing more in the way of overcast skies and rainfall to sections of some northern parishes. So sections of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, that's where the rainfall is going to be expected. And if we take a look at the rainfall forecast, both of these maps are from the Euro and the GFS, the Euro model, showing some blues that represent rainfall across northern Jamaica. And this is valid for 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 4 p.m. Jamaica time. And we can see the consensus. Even although we see some blues right there off to the south, we're looking for consensus. And the GFS model is showing that consensus across northern Jamaica, the very spots that we just mentioned. We see that across sections of St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, Portland, St. Mary, That's where we see the consensus. That's where we see both maps showing the rainfall, and the accumulated precipitation is showing something similar, with most of the rainfall across the northern portion of the island. Euro is a bit more robust with the amount of rainfall, but that won't be coming to fruition. We have to look at what both of them are showing, and keep in mind that both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall totals that are expected from now up until 10 p.m. on a Sunday, and we see the consensus across the northern portion of the island. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall, even although it's not that much. We'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we head into our very dry period from December to April. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we can see a lot of clouds bringing showers and thunderstorms associated with that trough across sections of the eastern Caribbean, so definitely Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, sections of St. Kitts, St. Martin, Guadeloupe, Dominica, sections of Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent. Not so much Grenada or Trinidad and Tobago for today, but we do see that afternoon convection that we had across sections of Colombia, Western Venezuela, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean for today or right now, we can see that rainfall that we indeed are having at this time. Sections of Puerto Rico, sections of Martinique, Dominica getting in some amount of rainfall, and for the most part for today they definitely had some amount of rainfall, some heat or mist showers, some of these rain bands causing some amount of flooding to sections of these islands as well. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we do see some more rainfall coming in from the east, southeast, definitely going to be making its way into portions of Tobago later on tonight, Grenada as well. Even sections of Trinidad are going to be getting in on some of that rainfall, as we can see coming in from the east. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that we just mentioned across sections of northwestern Venezuela, Belize, Guatemala and Honduras as well. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map is showing 18th on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we do see that for the most part, it should be some amount of average to slightly above normal temperatures across majority of the Caribbean basin that's expected, as we can see by the key on the right. However, as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast, majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear for 2 p.m. on Sunday. Majority of the Saharan dust, as represented by the browns, should be right there across the main development region. As it relates to the wave forecast, majority of the Caribbean should be getting in on the 0.5 meter to at least 1.5 meter wave heights. We can see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls, and that's due to the fact that the winds are not going to be that strong, coming in from the southeast across the eastern Caribbean, coming in from the northeast across majority of the greater Antilles, but we can see that for the most part the waters of the Caribbean should be getting in on a little to no winds, maybe 5 to 10 knots at most. As it relates to the rainfall totals that are expected across the Caribbean from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday, we do see that for majority of the greater Antilles it should be more, and we have some isolated pockets of rainfall as indicated by the greens and the yellows. But where we see the reds and the purples, that's where we're going to be seeing that maybe an inch or 2 or maybe even 3 inches of rainfall that could trigger some amount of flash flooding. So anywhere from Puerto Rico eastward, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, sections of Antigua, Anguilla, Barbuda, Guadeloupe, more in the way of rainfall expected, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Barbados, sections of Grenada, sections of Trinidad and Tobago could get in on some amount of rainfall, but more do have some isolated rainfall. That is, we can also see that in the southern portion of the basin, sections of Suriname and French Guiana should be getting in on some very sunny weather. Isolated showers for Guyana, sections of majority of Venezuela, isolated showers. Western Venezuela, definitely some heavy rainfall. So too Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, sections of Belize and Guatemala getting in on the same amount of rainfall as well, while the Yucatan Peninsula should not be getting in on much. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are showing something similar, and when they're showing the same things like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.